In the heart of Silver Creek, the sun beat down on the dusty streets, casting long shadows from the wooden buildings. This lively town bustled with life, filled with the sounds of laughter and chatter that spilled into the air. At the center of it all stood the bustling saloon, aptly named the Silver Star. Its swinging doors creaked with each arrival, welcoming patrons eager for a drink and a good story. Inside, the flickering lanterns illuminated the faces of cowboys, miners, and townsfolk who gathered to share their daily tales, often laced with laughter and rumor. Among them was Clara, a striking saloon girl known for her clever wit and magnetic smile. Her auburn hair cascaded over her shoulders, and her quick eyes missed nothing as she served drinks and listened intently to whispered secrets. Clara thrived in this world of gossip, weaving through tables with grace. She had a knack for knowing just when to lean closer, capturing snippets of gossip that others might overlook. It was a skill that had made her both popular and wise. Little did the townspeople know how much power Clara held with the knowledge gathered in this lively saloon, especially about one man, Mr. Thompson, the town's wealthy banker. Clara thrived in her role at the Silver Star, expertly balancing her duties while keeping a keen ear on the conversations swirling around her. As she served drinks, her laughter mingled with the chatter, creating an inviting atmosphere. But beneath her charming smile lay an astute observer, always ready to catch whispers of secrets and scandals. Each evening, Clara would glide through the saloon, her skirt brushing against the wooden floor, pausing here and there to refill a glass or wipe down a table. While pretending to be focused on her tasks, she absorbed every word spoken. She soon learned that Mr. Thompson's facade of respectability hid a world of deceit. Townsfolk spoke of his shady dealings, from loan sharking to swindling hardworking miners out of their earnings. Her favorite spot was near the poker table, where rough-and-tumble cowboys often shared tales of lost fortunes and broken promises. Clara knew who to trust and who to keep at arm's length. With each story she pieced together, she realized how much power she wielded, information that could change lives or bring a man like Mr. Thompson to his knees. Little did he know that Clara had become a force to be reckoned with in Silver Creek. As Clara continued to gather information, the whispers about Mr. Thompson grew darker and more troubling. She learned that behind his polished demeanor lay a web of corruption. Patrons at the Silver Star spoke of how he manipulated loans, charging exorbitant interest rates to desperate miners who had little choice but to borrow from him. Many ended up losing their homes and livelihoods, trapped in a cycle of debt. But it wasn't just the loans that concerned Clara. There were rumors of hidden treasures as well. Some claimed that Mr. Thompson had stashed away gold and silver coins obtained through underhanded deals, buried deep in a secret location known only to him. The thought of this treasure made Clara's heart race, for it could provide her with the means to change her life forever. Additionally, Clara overheard talk of a shady deal involving a corrupt land purchase that could lead to disaster for the town if exposed. Mr. Thompson planned to develop valuable land into a gambling hall, further preying on the dreams of the townsfolk. With each secret Clara uncovered, she felt the weight of her knowledge grow heavier, realizing she could use it to turn the tables on the banker and perhaps even save her community from his greedy grasp. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over Silver Creek, Clara stepped outside the Silver Star for a breath of fresh air. The bustling sounds of laughter and music faded behind her, replaced by the quiet rustling of leaves in the evening breeze. Just as she took a deep breath, she collided unexpectedly with Mr. Thompson, who was emerging from the shadows of a nearby alley. "Ah, Clara," he said smoothly, masking his surprise with an easy smile. "Always the hard worker, I see." Clara met his gaze, feeling a jolt of tension pass between them. "And you, Mr. Thompson, always lurking where you shouldn't be," she replied with a playful tone, though her heart raced at the underlying seriousness of their encounter. They exchanged glances that held unspoken challenges. Clara could sense his discomfort even as he tried to maintain an air of confidence. The air was thick with anticipation, and Clara knew that this moment would change everything. As she turned to leave, she felt emboldened by the knowledge she held. This wasn't just a chance meeting. It was the beginning of a confrontation that could alter their fates forever. With the encounter swirling in her mind, Clara crafted a bold plan to confront Mr. Thompson. She knew that the secrets she held were powerful, and she intended to leverage them to turn the tables on him. Determined not to act hastily, she decided to wait for the right moment to spring her trap. Clara envisioned a scene in the saloon where the atmosphere would be charged with excitement. She planned to invite Mr. Thompson for a private discussion under the guise of admiration. Clara could already see it. She would flatter him until he let his guard down, making him feel important and in control. Once he was lulled into a false sense of security, she would drop the bombshell, revealing that she knew all about his shady dealings and hidden treasures. But first, Clara needed proof. She began to discreetly collect evidence that could back up her claims. Listening closely during conversations and gathering whispers about where potential treasures might be hidden became her priority. As the pieces fell into place, Clara felt a surge of confidence. Not only did she intend to confront Mr. Thompson about his misdeeds, she was ready to make him understand the consequences of his actions, setting the stage for a showdown that would leave a lasting impression. The evening arrived, and Clara stood at the center of the Silver Star, her heart racing with anticipation. The saloon buzzed with patrons, and she could feel the energy shifting as she prepared for the confrontation. With a commanding presence, Clara called for attention, her voice cutting through the noise. "Ladies and gentlemen, I need your ears for just a moment," she announced, capturing the crowd's curiosity. As the chatter faded, she spotted Mr. Thompson seated at a corner table, his expression shifting from amused to wary. Clara took a deep breath and continued, "We've all heard rumors about our esteemed banker, Mr. Thompson, and I believe it's time we shine a light on the truth." The crowd leaned in, intrigued by her boldness. With quick wit, Clara recounted the stories she had gathered, how he preyed on desperate miners and manipulated land deals for his gain. She felt empowered as she spoke, her words igniting murmurs of agreement and outrage among the townsfolk. As Mr. Thompson's face darkened with anger, Clara pressed on, challenging him directly. "Do you really think you can continue to hide behind your lies?" she demanded, her courage unwavering. The tension in the room thickened, and everyone waited to see how the banker would respond, knowing that this was a moment that could change everything in Silver Creek. Clara could feel the intensity in the air as she faced Mr. Thompson, the townsfolk's eyes fixed on her in eager anticipation. With confidence surging through her, she decided it was time to bring her plan to fruition. She leaned in closer, lowering her voice just enough for only Mr. Thompson to hear. "Mr. Thompson," she began, her tone laced with both charm and danger. "We both know how dangerous secrets can be. I've gathered quite the arsenal of evidence against you, and I can assure you that it's explosive." She watched as his eyes widened slightly, the color draining from his face. Using the metaphor of gunpowder, Clara continued, "One spark, and it's all over for you. I could easily share these truths with the townsfolk, and your carefully built empire would crumble like a house of cards." She paused, allowing her words to sink in. But Clara wasn't finished. "Instead, I propose a deal. You can keep your precious secrets safe at a price." Her heart raced as she outlined her demands, knowing that she stood at a crucial crossroads. This was not just about money. It was about reclaiming power for herself and her community. As she watched Mr. Thompson wrestle with his options, Clara felt empowered, ready to take back control in Silver Creek. As Clara stood before Mr. Thompson, she noticed familiar faces in the crowd beginning to step forward. The townsfolk were no longer mere spectators. They were her allies, each one of them driven by their own experiences with the banker's greed. Old Man Jenkins, a worn but wise figure, raised his hand and spoke up. "I lost my farm to Thompson's loan sharks. He tricked me into signing a contract I didn't understand." His voice quivered with anger, and others nodded in agreement, sharing similar tales of loss and betrayal. Next to him, Mary Sullivan, a resilient widow whose husband had fallen into debt due to Thompson's manipulations, added, "My family struggled while he lined his pockets. It's time we take back what's ours." Her words inspired a ripple of energy through the crowd. Encouraged by their united front, Clara felt her resolve strengthen. She realized they all shared a common goal: justice against Mr. Thompson. The townsfolk murmured their support, rallying around Clara as she prepared to confront the banker once more. With unexpected allies at her side, Clara knew they could stand firm against his tyranny and reclaim their town from his grasp. Together, they would ensure that Silver Creek could rise again. As Clara's words hung in the air, Mr. Thompson's confident facade began to crumble. He could feel the energy shift around him. The townsfolk's eyes glinted with resolve, and whispers of support for Clara grew louder. Panic flickered behind the banker's steely mask as he realized the grip he once had on Silver Creek was slipping away. He glanced around the room, taking in the faces of those he had wronged. Old Man Jenkins, Mary Sullivan, and others, all demanding justice. The realization struck him like a bolt of lightning. His secrets were no longer safe. The stories of his greed now had momentum, threatening to expose the very foundation of his power. Desperation clawed at him as he contemplated how far he would go to silence Clara and the townsfolk. Would he risk revealing more dangerous secrets? The hidden treasures he thought were safely stowed away now felt like a ticking time bomb. What if they uncovered something worse than his corrupt deals? Mr. Thompson clenched his fists beneath the table, sweat beading on his forehead. He needed a plan, fast. The stakes had never been higher, and he was prepared to do whatever it took to protect himself, even if it meant crossing a line that could seal his fate. The tension in the Silver Star reached a boiling point as Clara stood her ground, fully aware of the stakes. With the townsfolk behind her, she challenged Mr. Thompson one last time, demanding that he comply with her demands for fair treatment and reparations for those he had wronged. "Now is your chance, Thompson," Clara called out, her voice steady yet fierce. "Either you begin to make amends or face the truth about what you've done." The crowd murmured in agreement, their eyes locked on the banker. Mr. Thompson's heart raced as he weighed his options. He could feel the walls closing in on him. If he continued to resist, the evidence Clara had could destroy him before the townspeople, a fate he couldn't bear. With a shaky breath, Thompson glanced around at the expectant faces and realized he was out of options. Finally surrendering to the pressure, he nodded slowly, conceding to Clara's terms. "All right," he said reluctantly, his voice barely above a whisper but loud enough for all to hear. The room erupted into cheers as Clara felt a rush of victory sweep over her. Silver Creek would begin to heal, and she knew this was just the start of a brighter future for her community. In the days following the confrontation, Silver Creek began to transform. The air felt lighter, as if a dark cloud had lifted from the town. Clara emerged not just as a saloon girl but as a beacon of hope and courage. People stopped her in the streets, offering kind words and smiles, their respect for her palpable. She had stood up to Mr. Thompson and challenged his tyranny, inspiring others to do the same. With her newfound influence, Clara took it upon herself to help mend ties within the community. She organized meetings at the Silver Star, encouraging dialogue about fairness and cooperation among the townsfolk. Together, they began discussing plans for a cooperative bank that would serve the miners and farmers without exploiting them. Yet as Clara embraced this leadership role, she couldn't shake off a sense of foreboding. While many celebrated, there were still those loyal to Mr. Thompson who whispered in the shadows. Clara knew that challenges would come. Not everyone would welcome change gracefully, especially those who thrived on corruption. As she looked out over Silver Creek from the saloon's porch one evening, Clara resolved to stand strong against whatever trials lay ahead, ready to protect the community she had come to deeply love. As Clara stood on the porch of the Silver Star, gazing out at the town she loved, she reflected on her journey and the weight of her new role. She had become a symbol of bravery and justice, but with that came a burden she couldn't ignore. Knowing the secrets of others could be a powerful tool, yet it was also a double-edged sword. It could protect and empower, but it could also expose vulnerabilities and bring unforeseen consequences. Clara thought about Mr. Thompson's desperate attempts to silence her. His greed had not only harmed her community but had also threatened to unravel her own life. Bravery often came at a price, she realized. While she had inspired the townsfolk to rise against tyranny, there would always be those who sought to reclaim their power through intimidation or deceit. With determination washing over her, Clara vowed to remain vigilant and courageous as she navigated this complex landscape. The journey ahead would not be without challenges, but she knew that fighting for justice and fairness was worth every sacrifice. As she turned back towards the saloon, she imparted a silent promise to protect Silver Creek and its people from whatever darkness lay ahead.